Yeah, morning everyone, and welcome. Request all of you to kindly mute your mic and switch off your video. Thank you for being here this morning at the regular monthly meeting of MNS. The only thing that I would, you would have seen the big thing that happened last month was this 1,850 kilometer road trip that Yuvan and I did in order to do a recce of Zone 2 and Zone 3. Mainly to understand, we did cover 9 ICMPAs, also to understand what more needs to be looked at, and we were able to find a few, which we have passed on to our team. We also met our team from the Center for Advanced Studies in Marine Biology, Annamalai University. Wonderful team. The principal investigator, Dr. Bragadishwar, great person, classmate of our member, Professor Maslamani. Very nice team, and we're very, very happy that we joined hands with them. And I'm very sure that Zone 2, the results from Zone 2 and Zone 3 will match and perhaps be even better than the results that we obtained in Zone 1. Well, other than that, there was nothing else that happened. We are now, the big news is also that migratory birds have started coming in much earlier this year. In fact, during I think on the 22nd of September, we saw Yuvan and I saw the red-necked phalarope, and which is near Muthupet Lagoon, which itself shows that they have started coming in. There were a whole apparently a week before that there was a whole flock which was also seen near Muthupet Lagoon by another team led by Subramanian Shankar. So that's good news, and there's plenty of water in most of the water bodies, and so I think we can look forward to a great birding season in the next 3 or 4 months. Okay, now you're all aware of the Urban Wilderness Walk, which is an initiative started by MNS 3 months ago. Also, there were a lot of sessions, field sessions, other sessions which were held. You also know that in the month of August, the interns did a fantastic job. There were close to 25 walks that were conducted across 22 locations, different areas in Chennai. They built upon it further. They've done more work, and to know what's happened till now and what is expected to happen this month, I will pass you on to Yuvan. And before Yuvan takes over, I'd like to add that while Yuvan anchored this whole initiative, Dr. Kalpana Jairam support is immense, and I'm sure will continue to be there as long as MNS continues its internship program, which I'm very sure we will. So over to Yuvan to
Okay, good morning, everybody. I just want to share the broad, the vision and the dream of this internship. Initially, when we were ideating about it, Vijay uncle was there, Vikas was in Chennai at the time. And the idea was, what would it be like to create a city-wide network of young naturalists who not just know the names of the birds and the trees and the insects, but can be facilitators, resource people, anchors who can conduct walks, activities, other things for people in their localities, public, in different habitats. And from that time, we've been able to put together and craft a curriculum which has a mix of field sessions, field activities we go on, assignments people part of this program will do, and then discussions from that. So that kind of grew on slowly. And the larger dream was, so let's say we have something like this for several years. I mean, we are at the end of our first leg, the first program which MNS is offering. Would that in some way shift the culture of the city? If there were hundreds of people who could facilitate this for people and who had this kind of deep knowledge and awareness and skills and so on, would that shift the city a little bit with people? And how would that? That was a question. So here, in the meeting, you see the first batch of interns, and they did a feat perhaps for the first time in Chennai's history. I think, this Interbit bunch. Uh, End of August, like Vijay Uncle was saying, end of August, in 25 different places across Chennai, right from Avadi to ICF to Trivandrum to Triplicane, literally across the metropolis, there were people went on urban wilderness walks. And I don't know if that's happened before. So
No, it hasn't. It hasn't.
yeah, yeah. So I want to pass it on to the interns to speak about their experiences, take you on their own walks. So yeah, Charlotte, on to you.
Yeah, just one thing that I would wish to add to what you and I said till now is that the ultimate goal, like he was saying, okay, he was talking about the shift in culture. The ultimate goal is to ensure that the citizenry of Chennai truly appreciate and conserve the biodiversity that this city has. Charlotte?
Yes, so Nikita will present a PPT for us to speak on, and then Rachel will take over. So like Yuvan said, we conducted approximately 25 wilderness walks over the course of 2 weekends, and the localities, interns conducted these walks in their neighborhoods, which covered localities from Avdi to Palikarna and everywhere in between. Now we'll be going into all the nitty-gritty details of how the work, what work went into conducting these walks. So over to Rachel.
Hello everyone, I'm Rachel. I'm here to brief you all on the preparations we did before conducting our walks. It involved picking a trail, studying it, preparing the talking points, background research, preparing activity sheets, and e-invites. The first step for conducting a walk is to choose a trail. It is crucial because the trail one chooses determines the duration of the walk itself. It shouldn't be too short and definitely not too long. The trail should have enough biodiversity in it in order to keep the walk engaging and interesting. For picking a perfect trail, we interns strolled around our neighborhoods looking for anything and everything. After choosing a trail, the next step is to study it. This took another walk for us. During this, we jotted down all the flora and fauna we found in our trails, starting from small shrubs and bugs to big trees and birds. We also tried identifying it then and there. For identification, we used the Urban Fauna of India Guide by Preston Ahimus, Birds of Tamil Nadu Pocket Guide by the Early Bird, provided by the MNS. iNaturalist proved most efficient and was very easy to use as well. The next step is to prepare the talking points, the heart of any walk. From the notes we had taken while studying the trail, we filtered out the talking points based on how common the organisms are, not forgetting to keep it simple and interesting. Simple enough to be understood by any commoner. This also helped to plan and organize a walk sequentially. After preparing the talking points, the next step is to do background research. It is nothing but collecting data, facts, and stories about an organism. This includes history, uses, and what makes them interesting, and so on. Based on the instructions given by Yuvan, we prepared activity sheets, which was to be done during the walk. Many of us tried doing it ourselves to make sure it was not too challenging. Although the activity sheets were in English, the walk was conducted bilingual in Tamil and English. The final step is to prepare e-invites. We used apps like Canva and InShot to make them and circulated among friends and family. We also posted them in social media platforms like WhatsApp and Instagram. Next slide, please. So these are some of the e-invites we made. All these were inspired from the MNS field trips, without which we would have been so lost. So that is all on preparations. Now over to Pratana.
Good morning, everyone. This is Pratna, and I'll be talking about the challenges that we all faced while conducting our walks. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the major challenge that we all faced was that it was raining at unpredictable hours during those days, and it made it difficult for us to continue our walks properly. So the next point here you can see is that it was also difficult for us to gather people for our walk, since we were all conducting it for the first time, and it was difficult for them for us to persuade them to come along with us. But the social media made it possible for us to gather people easily, and also it was quite difficult to make people trust us with their safety issues because of the ongoing pandemic situation, but it all went on well. And then you can see that the walks demanded us to be roaming around the streets with possessions like camera, binoculars, etc. So that drew a lot of public attention to fall on us, many suspicious eyes. So if this attention was placed on, like if they had this attention on the nature, probably it would have flourished long back. But then we had all these suspicious eyes fall on us instead. And also then we can the urban landscape that is here, it made us very difficult for us to fix the right biodiversity spot, and then fix the trails and then plan the walk accordingly, and etc. Since and also we couldn't collect so many stories from the local people, because people here keep shifting here and there, so they really don't know much about the history of any particular locality. So that was quite difficult for us. Next slide, please. And our other challenges were identification of the flora and fauna of the locality during our preparation, which eventually got solved with the help of the floral and faunal guides that were given to us by the MNS and the other resources like iNaturalist, etc. And the next challenge was that the age gap between the people who had come for the walk. It made it really difficult for us to explain the same thing, but in different ways for different people of age, age groups. So the next challenge was that we were in a dilemma as to how are we going to keep the people engaged all along the walk, because it was our first time, so we were all quite nervous. But eventually, as the walk went on, as it proceeded and the activity sessions began, people really started loving the walk, and they became more interested and enjoyed it till the end. And the last challenge that we faced, you can see, is that many animals, birds, or insects that we observed during our preparatory walks were actually missing during our, the day on which we were conducting the actual walks. So that had led to many changes that we had to do, in our whole thing. So that was one more challenge. Next slide, please. So despite all these challenges, the walks turned out to be a fruitful event. All these hurdles turned out to be a great teaching lesson for us, which we are all going to keep in our minds and take care of in our upcoming walks. Overall, it was a wonderful experience for all of us, and our walks were indeed a huge success. Thank you. Over to the next person.
Next, we have activity sheets. So, and activities. So, activity sheets were made based on the trails we picked. The purpose of these activity sheets is to keep the participants engaged and encourage them to explore the trail on their own and take in their surrounding environment. The activity sheet incorporated questions that engage people's senses of sight, sound, smell, and touch in an attempt to make them aware of the nature around them. They were made using guidelines given to us by Yuvan, and the guidelines were kept in mind while creating them. These guidelines were incorporated while making the questions for the activity sheets and were tailored to the trail chosen and the age of the people participating in the walks. All the questions on the activity sheets were in English. Some activity sheets had questions that asked people to figure out the Tamil name of insects or flowers they spotted on the trail. Yamini conducted her walk at Nikita, next slide, please. Yamini conducted her walk in Tamil. Although her activity sheet was in English, she explained the requirements of the activity sheet to them as she went on, and explained it to them as and when they asked for her help. Some of the questions for the walk were based on spot notice find. The participants were asked to find things like nests and insects, reptiles, pollinators, camouflaged animals, and the like. Some activity sheets included images, checklists, and bingos to help make the activity fun. Draw, illustrate, color, where participants were asked to sketch a spider web or draw the flowers of a particular plant, or to observe and draw the shape of leaves. The inspiration was what we saw while we were walking around. Another questions were also based on the use of cardinal directions. The participants were asked to figure out the direction of the wind during the walk, or to identify the cardinal direction of the trail on a map. Identifying flora and fauna using guides or resources provided was also incorporated into the activity sheet. Knowledge exchange, where the activity sheets included small tidbits of information of local flora and fauna, and some also included questions where the participants were asked to observe local flora and fauna and reflect on their observations. The activity sheet also included details about the date, time, and weather during the walk. I'll now be showing you a short time lapse of participants playing dumb charades, where they mimicked insects and birds that they saw on the trail. This was taken by Ravina during her walk. Apart from this, one of the activities conducted on some of the walks was to calculate the age of trees. Next slide. So apart from this, one of the activities conducted on some of the walks was to calculate the age of trees. Inspiration for questions on the activity sheets was taken from the sheets we received on walks conducted by UN, and inspiration for the layout was taken from Pinterest and our own imaginations. Some activity sheets are minimalistic, whereas others are colorful. The activity sheets were made on Canva and Word documents. Nikki, next slide. The response to the activity sheets were positive. People said it was fun, engaging, interesting, and that it built excitement, and they liked doing that. These are some of the examples of the activity sheets we created for the walks. And next we have the vision.
Hello everyone, this is Divyashri. I'm here to tell you a little about the people who participated in the Urban Wilderness Walk and the feedback we received from them. 21 walks were conducted in August, 15 of them during the last weekend of the month. The number of participants ranged from 5 to 23. Next slide, please. First, let's take up the age of the participants, ranging from age 3 to 78 across the walks. Some of us had participants who belonged to the same age group. Others led children, youngsters, middle age, and old people on the chosen trail. Some of the children were accompanied by their parents, and we had to work doubly hard to keep everyone interested. One of the interns especially wanted to take government school children for the walk, as she felt that such inputs were rare in government schools. So, the participants in our walk were children from a school near her house. Next slide. And how did the participants react after the walk? In brief, they felt that the walk were amazing, full of energy, filled with curiosity, fun, awesome information. Some felt a sense of responsibility after the walks, as they felt that they had to save nature from harm so that there was something good that could be passed on to the next generation. We feel positive and appreciated with such feedback. And did the participant have any expectation on us? Yes, each and every person who joined the walk was eager to know when would we conduct the next walk. We felt that it is an achievement and feel motivated to start preparing for our next set of walks. On behalf of all the interns, I wish to thank the Madras Naturalist Society for this internship that we see as a wonderful opportunity that has already led to a lot of learning. We are eager to experience and learn more through conducting more walks. So these are some of the pictures that we took while walk. Thank you. Now I pass it on to Pavitra.
Knowing another is endless. The thing to be known grows with the knowing, said Nan Sheffer. Hi all, I am Pavitra and I'm here to share our learnings so far in this internship. When we were introduced to this internship, we became more attentive of our surroundings and the life around us. We could learn from tiny ants to big butterflies and birds. Couldn't find any organism simple or boring. Attending our first walk at Perungudi improved our patience and skills to observe. Before these works, we could just majorly spend our weekend in a non-productive way. But these works being a portal, we could travel to a whole new another world. Next slide, please. When we did our first walk, we were about to manage a huge crowd. Urban walks taught us how to manage such crowd by just laying some ground rules and engaging them in a right way. This boosted our confidence and helped us to take up larger responsibilities. The histories and facts we collected about our place, which we lived almost our entire life, was only because of the purpose of the assignment given to us. If not, we would have never got a chance to know that amazing part. Next slide, please. Engaging ourselves with fieldworks, conducting walks, sharing our sightings with each other increased our communication skills as well as made us jump out of our mobiles and gadgets for something good. We learn new things each and every time. After these walks, nowadays, when we hear any bird call, we would just rush out of our houses and try to find where does that sound comes from and what bird was that. Even while simply walking around the streets, we try to go near the plants and trees and try to observe if there's any organism. In total, this internship made us change our whole perspective of how we see the world and be a true naturalist. On behalf of all the interns, I would like to say that we are really glad and honored to be part of this Madras Naturalist Society. And thank you for imparting tremendous amount of knowledge on us. Thank you.
We now know what has gone behind the creation of urban wilderness walks. The process, the hurdles, and the beautiful results. Let us now take a walk at 5 localities in Chennai and experience the UWW in a gist of 15 minutes. From the virtual walk, not only will you experience the thrill of finding new creatures and observing their interesting behaviors, but you can also participate, but you can also appreciate the urban beauty of Chennai right from your seats. Our virtual walks show each place's unique diversity, some information on what is shown, and trivia tidbits that you may look out for. We will now walk in Aminjikare, Triplicane, Avadi, Madhavaram Milk Colony, and Sholinganallur, virtually of course. First up, we have Bianca and Garnet.
Hey, I'm Bianca.
And I'm Garnet.
And we're going to take you through a nature walk in Ayavu Colony, Amjikare.
So this is Peacock Crown. It is opposite the Corporation Park in our area. It's called Mayalkondrai in Tamil because it literally looks like a peacock's crown. The extract of these flowers has been known to arrest the cell cycle, and a long time ago it was used as medicine to cure minor injuries and relieve fever, and it's also known to have weight loss benefits and antiseptic properties. Despite the medicinal properties, it's also known to be a bit toxic, as it was once used as an abortifacient. The immature seeds are known to be edible, but the mature ones are rather toxic. And when I say toxic, I mean it might give you a stomachache. It's not known to be fatal. If you look closely, you might see Tetragonula. They're one of the common pollinators in this area here.
So we walked further down the street and there was a fig tree. The fruit of the fig tree has a small opening at the end that allows access to pollinators. The wasps pollinate the flowers as they crawl through the opening to lay their eggs. In turn, these flowers provide a safe haven and nourishment for the next generation of wasps. This is co-evolutionary relationship.
So in Govindan Street, opposite to Bianca's house, there is a milkweed plant. Milkweed is another toxic plant and a lot of insects depend on it. This is the broken chrysalis of a plain tiger butterfly. The caterpillars absorb this toxicity and so they're poisonous when they turn into adults too, which gives them a defense against the predators.
There's a Nerium plant in the second cross street. Nerium is one of the most commonly grown toxic plants in the city, but its bitterness makes it rather uneatable to humans and most animals, so poisoning cases are rare and general risk for death is low. Despite its toxicity, some insects do feed on it, like the larvae of the common crow butterfly, which retains the toxin. They depend on insects for pollination, but they don't get many visitors because despite having beautiful flowers, they have no nectar.
So we took a left from Second Cross Street and there was a neem tree. Neem is another well-known medicinal plant of India, but in children the oil is toxic. The pesticide made from this acts as a repellent and egg-laying deterrent, and this protects crops from damage. Neem trees also release phytoncides, which are a sort of volatile organic compound containing antimicrobial properties. This prevents them from rotting and also doubles as a natural pesticide, keeping insects and animals from eating them. When it comes to microbes, phytoncides work by preventing the growth of bacteria.
So we went around and came back to the park, and outside the park is a rain tree. So it is called a rain tree because the leaves fold in rainy weather. It also has the name 5 o'clock tree because it closes its leaves at around 5 o'clock until dawn the next day. In Tamil, it is called the Tungumunji Maram. It is an exotic species which was originally from Central America, and then it went to Sri Lanka and it came to India.
Next up, we have Barshin.
Hello everyone, I will be your guide for the virtual nature walk in Madavaram Milk Colony. So gear up and let's explore the nature around us. Don't forget to wear your masks. When we enter the trail, our sight is captured by the tall Asian Palmyra palm trees. These trees are native to India. And do you know something? Palm trees are the official state tree of Tamil Nadu. They can grow up to 30 meters. Palm trees helps in storing groundwater and are resistant to drought. Their fibrous roots has the ability to hold the soil firmly. Palm trees are highly valued due to their economic importance. They provide us with their fruits, which is called as ice apple, and it is also known as nungu in Tamil. In this area, the palm trees are inhabited by crows, mynas, and squirrels. Wow, palm trees are indeed mesmerizing. Okay, let's go. On the sides of the pathway, we could see some weeds, shrubs, and other herbaceous plants. On the left side, we could see the Prosopis juliflora. Prosopis is an invasive weed. It is a thorny shrub. But we could spot some birds that is hiding inside it or even perched on it, like the red-vented bulbul. As the name suggests, the bird has a red-colored vent under its tail, which is difficult to see. We can also see mynas and the oriental magpie robin hiding inside the branches. Uh-oh. Come on, let us explore more. I see a cow dung on the path. If you see a cow dung, ta-da! Then better look out for the dung beetles. Dung beetles feeds on the feces of animals. They roll the dung into round balls, which are used as food source or breeding chambers, and bury them into the soil. Sometimes dung beetles try to steal the dung ball from another beetle. So they have to move quickly away from the dung pile once they have rolled their ball to prevent it from being stolen. Oh my, they are in real trouble right now. Most dung beetles search for dung using their sensitive sense of smell. It is really satisfying to see them rolling away. Shh, quiet. There is a hoopoe probing on the ground, probably looking for insects to eat. Let's not disturb it and we shall move. In the right side of this path, you can see a huge milkweed plant where butterflies and bees comes to drink nectar from the flowers. Wow, an Indian domino cockroach. Wait, I see something over here. It is the common club-tailed dragonfly. The dragonfly is trying to get heat from the sun to warm up its body to fly. Okay, now let's continue our journey. Aw, pretty cows. Okay, here we are. I would like to call this specific path as the butterfly spot. Here you can see numerous butterflies, including different kinds of species like the plain tiger butterflies, blue tiger, tawny costers, emigrants, and pansies like yellow pansy, lemon pansy, and the beautiful blue pansy. Other than those butterflies, there are also tiny butterflies known as the blues, like the dark grass blue, pea blue, common cerulean, and the forget-me-not butterfly. Now, we are at the end of our virtual nature walk. If you want to connect more with nature, don't think about the forest. Step out and explore the urban wilderness around you. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Next, we have Anuja. Next, we have Sridev. Finally, we have a video from Claudia and Chris.
Hey guys! It's me, Grace.
And me, Claudia, and we are taking you guys on a virtual walk from spot A
To spot B. So let's explore.
Hey Grace, look, there's a sapota tree.
Hey, Claudia. Do you know the early chewing gums were made from the sapota tree?
No.
So listen, bark of the sapota trees have a milky latex. In the central Mexico lived the Mayos and the Aztecs, who took the milky sap and molded it into rectangular pieces and used them as chewing gums. Later, in 1866, the President of Mexico, Santa Anna, introduced it into New York, and the businessmen in New York added sugar and color to it and introduced it in the markets in the form of bubble gum, gum-on, boomer, etc. that we have today. And so, it all started from this one small tree.
Whoa, I'm thrilled. So let's continue the walk now.
Yeah, sure. Hey, the milkweed.
Do you know the milkweed gets its name from its milky sap contained in its leaves and stems? They are also medicinal. The sap contains cardiac glycosides that may be used to treat a variety of heart diseases. There's a 6-spot zigzag ladybird on the tulsi plant.
Oh wow. Okay, let's continue the walk. And we reached spot B.
It was a brisk walk.
Oh yes, it was.
So this is Mitnamali Lake, which is of 108 acres.
Do you know, Claudia, this lake is also a part of community-based water conservation effort.
Wow! And the speciality of this lake is, on one there is an agriculture space and on the other side there's the lake.
What a beautiful view. I would describe it to be a real heaven. Hey Claudia, look, there's someone in water.
Oh, what is she doing?
Ah, I think she's collecting lotus buds.
Oh yes. I've seen people collecting lotus pods the same way for their seeds, which are edible.
Okay.
Hey Grace, drop that pod and come back. Let's continue our walk.
Okay. Okay, Claudia, can I at least go and pluck that lotus flower from the water?
Oh no, Grace. The water looks contaminated.
How do you even see that?
Do you see that ditch jewel dragonfly over there? The scientific name is Brachythemis contaminata, which describes its presence near contaminated water bodies. Hence proved.
Okay.
Oh, that's the milkweed plant again. And look, there's a carpenter bee. Grace, do you know why they are called carpenter bees?
No, I don't know.
Okay, as the name suggests, they build their nest drilling holes into softwoods and bamboos. They are also very good pollinators for many species like these.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. Hey look, Claudia, there's someone swimming in the contaminated water.
Oh, I think he didn't see the ditch jewel. Hey, what's that shiny bug?
Oh no, Claudia, it's a jewel beetle. It's also called as metallic beetle or wood boring beetle. And it is called so because of their distinctive glossy bright colors and iridescent carapaces. Jewel beetles are among the largest family of beetles and over 15,500 species have been identified till now. They have a hard chitinous shell called as a carapace that protects the body and serves as a pouch for the wings when not extended. Some species of jewel beetles are virulent pests and can even cause massive economic damage if they infest crops.
Oh, I still love them. Dude, look, there are two butterflies mating. What butterfly is it?
Oh Claudia, it's the crimson rose butterfly. They are largely found in Sri Lanka and India. They usually prefer to live both in open country and in the jungle. They are extremely fond of flowers, particularly lantana. The nectar of these flowers appears to be necessary for the crimson rose blue to increase the production of eggs in the females. And do you know what? Crimson rose butterflies can see yellow, green and red colors. Claudia, can you stop posing with that tree? We are going back.
Oh, I'm coming.
Shaurya. I enjoyed a lot.
Oh, me too. And thank you guys for joining.
Bye bye.
That brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is really wow. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank all of you. One never realized so much of time. It was fabulous. I really am at a loss of words to say. I don't know what to say. I think it's been out of the world. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. All of you. And
yeah, we all agree, Vijay. Wonderful.
Yeah, not just what you presented, but I think there's been tremendous learning that has happened. And yeah, congrats, UN, congrats, Kalpana. I mean, this only reinforces the fact that this initiative has to go on and on and on and on, and till we reach our final goal of ensuring that the citizenry of Chennai really appreciate the biodiversity around them and do everything possible to conserve it. All right. Now, throw the floor open to anyone who would want to address the interns, ask them questions, ask them whatever you need to ask in order to,
Vijay,
yeah.
On all the other participants, I'd like to congratulate the wonderful work. It was a mind-blowing event. This happened today. The participants who have put this together have done this with imagination, beautifully edited. Some of them had lovely music, and all of them had a storyline, and above all of them were very interesting. So I'd like to congratulate all the participants, because I don't want to name one after the other, because I want to congratulate all the participants. Everything was wonderful. And of course, Kalpana Jayaraman and UN have been instrumental in inspiring the students to achieve this. And I found one common factor among all this. This reflected the diligence and the hard work that was put in by the participants, and we came to know about the talents these young people have, and I wish this project a great success, and they will go from success to success in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sudhakar. I'm sure with your blessings, it will definitely happen. UN and I never really thought that this kind of how can one define this? I mean, the kind of result that we received would actually truly happen. We just there was a bit of hesitancy in the beginning, but then we just said, let's go ahead and see what would happen. And I think it just, and I know there are a lot more things to learn and happen, but I'm very happy to see that, especially the preparatory processes that all the interns went through before they actually did the work, and which gave them all the necessary confidence to pull off their works in a great manner. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else, please? Kindly feel free to talk to the interns. You could.
Congratulations, all the interns. I feel that I'm part of them. I'm so I feel like go back to my same age group. What I did when I was their age is nothing compared to what they have done. It's really wonderful. Technology has helped a lot, and the presentation is beautifully done, including little dramatized version. I can't just thank each and everyone, our entire team, I would say. They have done a great job. Yuvan and Kalpana being behind them is a wonderful initiative. Just one small suggestion. If you can collate all the data and start building up a nice document, which will sort of help us to prepare some sort of a atlas or nature map of Chennai. We already initiated some time ago, but after that it never took off. So this kind of a project, I'm sure, will help in the long run. Keep collating the data somewhere. The database should be very, very helpful later on. That's a small suggestion, because it should not go waste. The efforts, whether it's a small video clipping or whether it's a list of flora fauna seen in that particular area, locality or whatever, all this will be very useful. So keep it as a big document for MNS for later use. So congratulations, all the team members, all the intern, and of course the people behind it. I'm very happy that MNS is really doing something, and very proud of it. Thank you, and all the best for the next session.
This is I mean, I'm just going along with what Banu says. I think I had written that also in my small write-up relating to this walk, and that is the documentation. I'm always behind documentation. So this is a suggestion to the students also. You are 27 of you. Each of you has had your own set of experiences. Of course, a few of you had clubbed, two of you were together during the walk, but you can collate your experiences. And I think if you can just put it together, each one of you makes your own story. So we have like, 21 or 22 different stories, each one of you puts it together. So like Banu says, wherever you have taken taken people for the walk, you are thorough with the biodiversity there. So you can put the plants and the animals and different categories, document it. So once again, please take videos, take lots of pictures, I think sometimes feedback, if you can take it on video also, the feedback, it'll all go to make one very good document for MNS. So what I'm trying to say to students, interns, is that please, each person put together your own story, because then we have a compilation of all this. So thank you.
Yeah, and the moment the initiative began, we had a WhatsApp group set up for the MNS UWW interns, and I think the shared learning that happened on the WhatsApp group has been immense, absolutely mind-boggling.
Vijay, Desigan here.
Yeah.
A good show by all the interns. I think it's a great start. Now, a couple of things is how to grow this further. If I can, I think we've been discussing on this some time back, Vijay, like if each of these interns, because they are all from different localities, and they have now collected maybe a few local residents into one of their walks and stuff. So if you guys can just create these local street level groups, and today WhatsApp is there, bring them onto a common group, make this a regular affair, maybe once a month or once in 2 months. See, seasons change, and the fauna in a particular place is varied across the year. So if you can have these walks on a regular basis with a like-minded group, now you may have 30 guys in a group or 50 guys, but maybe only 10 people turn up on each walk. But then it is a continuing process, and then that will sort of grow the local chapters, and it will penetrate this idea further down. The more people see groups walking across observing, then it starts to grow exponentially. People start to, that word of inquiry from others around you in the locality will get more people join your group, and then it builds on itself. That's a small idea from my side. Think over it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thought. In fact, weather permitting, this month again, a whole lot of walks are going to happen. And I mean, this will be more focused. So we're planning, the interns are working on that. But yes, we definitely intend to grow this. As I said, it's very obvious that this has been a great initiative, and I'm sure there's a lot of data which will be generated regarding the biodiversity of our city due to this initiative. And I'm sure no stone will be left unturned to ensure that this will happen. And this again, you're absolutely right. We'll slowly, over a period of the next year or so, this has to be planned well. We'll develop area level experts, area level facilitators, so that this is a continuous exercise. Yes.
And another thing is, I think somebody was talking before we started that there has been a group that there's been one intern who tried to connect with Chennai Corporation School and then took the students on a walk or something like that. I would rather suggest that all the interns also look at a local school, tie up with their EVS teacher there or something like that, pick up the kids over an evening or maybe one weekend morning, and then take them around. It's easy to make an impression on kids' minds, bring them on to appreciate nature early on, but very difficult to get elders in that age group. So it's a good thing that you can try to tie up with schools or go meet schools, and I saw one walk on a virtual walk near Amjikara. It's closer to where I am. If you need any help here, you can always get in touch with me.
Yes.
Vijay, I'd like to thank Yuvan and Kalpana for being such good mentors. And I think it's a great effort by MNS. Congratulations, MNS, on the biodiversity walks. I think you're starting to collect and store data in a systematic way, which is wonderful. Thanks to all.
Vijay, this is Ramesh. I'd like to add something. First of all, congratulations to everyone. Fantastic effort, and these videos have been amazing. I think so innovative, presented so nicely. A lot of interesting music and videos. The narration was great. Fantastic footage captured. So I think congratulations all round to all the interns. Of course, Kalpana, Vidya, even fantastic guidance all along. I think very, very important. And you guys have not just motivated them, but also pushed them along and shown them the right things to do. Very, very important. One small suggestion which I can add on to what Kalpana was talking about earlier about the documentation. Maybe if you can create something like a docket which has some of the videos, maybe write-ups by some of the interns and all that, it could also help us in, I think, selling this idea to other colleges. Because, when we come down to expanding the program in future, if they can see the kind of outputs that will come from students, I think I don't think anybody will have any doubts about the exercise. Might be a good thing while it is fresh. Thanks. That's all.
Yeah. Thanks, Umesh Bhai. Yuvan, would you like to come on and say how you and you're actually planning to store all this data, collate them, and use them at a later stage? Yuvan?
One way in which we are doing that is Google Forms. So before each walk, the preparatory phase and what has gone into the planning, the different activity sheets made, the invites and everything. people put it on a Google form, and then we are storing it in MNS. And then after a walk, there is a small reflection and feedback form, with a few questions as to, how it went, how many people came, what was the trail you chose, what was the feedback, things which excited you, set of questions, which kind of captures the kind of essence of how the walk went. And then we are storing that. But then in terms of video, in terms of other ways of collating and putting out, one thing I'm very excited about is creating a set of these virtual walks and putting it on MNS Instagram or somewhere else where, people on social media also go on walks and get excited. Maybe they're living there and then they go and look out for this stuff. So this is in thinking process still. And of course, ideas are welcome.
Could you also perhaps talk about the assignments that you were constantly giving them? So,
So the curriculum of, firstly, all credits to the interns. They were, a fiery, feisty bunch. You throw something at them, they come up with all kinds of things. And in the process of, trying to create this, I learned a whole bunch based on the assignments people submitted and everything. So it's the curriculum is a mix of actual field sessions, and then assignments people do in their localities. So for instance, the first assignment was collecting narratives of that place. So it's to kind of, map the ecological history of that locality. You catch hold of people, let's say, you're in some locality, somebody who's lived there for 20, 30, 50 years, and kind of document the narrative of, okay, when they were born there, what was the place like, how did it change, were there water bodies, things like that. And so collect that from, different people. And in capturing that, we caught hold of stories which are fantastic. I've not heard of it, ever in any kind of mapping of Chennai's history. And then, surveys using citizen science platforms, and so on. The assignments were of that sort, making activity sheets, doing the background research to be able to create that, making a trail, having talking points, and so on. So it's kind of, it's a staggered process of informing oneself, and then being able to apply and execute that. So yeah, another set of walks is coming up, hopefully last 2 weekends of October, where it will be, so the first walk is generic in the locality on the kind of a biospheric ecology of the place. The next set of walk is specific based on interests different interns have. Somebody is interested about wetlands, somebody is interested about just dragonflies, butterflies, or trees, or an intersection of two. It could be just nature journaling. And so they're going to craft an activity just with that focus. So it will be a wetland walk or a odonate walk, a wildflower walk, and so on. So I'm looking forward to actually taking these invites, maybe sharing it on the MNS group as well. So, some of you could, if you are living close to that area, could accompany to members.
Yeah, and just to add to what Yuvan was saying, the whole idea of also doing this interest-specific walks was to further see how that adds more value to whatever is there in and around. And if there are people who have already come for a walk earlier, who are again going to come for the next walk, to also take feedback from them as to, what would be the next step to go. So this entire the first batch of interns have been like you had rightly said, fiery, feisty, absolutely. Like you said, throw anything at them and comes back to you in multifold, in fabulous forms, which you all saw. You all saw the activity sheets that were created. I mean, that was the first experience that they had, actually creating something where they went and gave it to somebody and somebody interacted and they used that for carrying the walk forward and interacting and all that. And then you also the quality of virtual walks that were created. I mean, each one of them are capable of doing something like this. That is what has actually happened. And so the interns have been extremely helpful, extremely cooperative, extremely supportive to help MNS actually create a curriculum. The teacher uses this word pretty often, Yuan being the teacher. So a curriculum, okay, a kind of pedagogy for us to understand how to take this forward because we will keep having interns, we will keep having groups on a constant basis where, that's the only way we build a whole group of facilitators across the city. Plus, we'll also have a whole group of youngsters, who part of MNS who will basically form, build upon the foundation that MNS has had for the last 43 years to take MNS forward into the next 40, 50 years. Okay, it's only the youth and who are all going to be part of our internship program who will actually carry forward the work that MNS has been trying to do in the last 4 decades. And so this initiative has been a great learning for everyone who was engaged. No, it's not just that we had something in our mind which we knew we had to deliver. No, I think like Yuan rightly said, there was a whole bunch that he learned, and then the whole bunch that we all learned, who were all actively part of it and engaged with it. We all learned, and it was a great learning exercise. And I'm very sure we do one more, 2 more, cycles of internships, and we will have something which is absolutely solid. Which it's my dream that MNS would be able to carry it and take it and present it to groups like MNS across this country and tell them this is something which you can replicate in, say, Mumbai or Calcutta, Hyderabad, Trivandrum, Ernakulam, or anywhere else. I hope that happens too. Yes. Would the interns, Charlotte and company, is there anything that you would like to add based on the interactions that you heard now, Charlotte?
No.
All right. Okay. Would anybody else want to say anything? All right. So
yes, Vijay, just one word.
Please.
I know when we started off, colleges had not begun, and now that we are all on full swing, I do realize that for the kids it's becoming a bit of a stress to manage both. But I just want to tell them to hang on. I mean, this is good stuff, and you really need to hang on and go through with the internship and keep to the deadlines, which I think UN is pretty flexible with the deadlines, but I think you should try and keep to them, because at the end of it, you are going to be really benefited, and this is going to help you in your future, whatever your career that you're building up. So just, I think this next October is a good time to do those walks, the second set of walks, and we should get on with it fast, because I see November end becoming a bit stressful again for the kids with the next set of exams coming up.
Yeah.
So let's just finish off one set of walks this month.
Yeah, before the Northeast monsoon becomes really fiery, I think it's best you finish, because I remember one of the challenges that you face is which you had expressed, is the rain that keeps coming off and on. Yeah. So as early as possible, if you are able to complete the walks, it would be great. All right. Is there anything else? If not, then thank you all very much for being here this morning, spending time with the interns, and thank you interns again for great work, and looking forward to more from you. So till we meet again, adieu and have a great Sunday. Thank you all.